6th World Press Conference holding in Abuja on the 10th of April 2023. Distinguished gentlemen of the press, we welcome you all to once again to the 6th edition in series of the Vote Must Count International Initiative press briefing designed to inform, educate, mobilize Nigerians who voted on the 25th of February 2023 for the candidates of their choice and did not seem to have their votes to have counted. This press briefing has practically entered its 6th edition in the recognition to the fact that the Nigerian voters have continued to fathom why their votes did not count at a time in our political history. Under the distinguished gentlemen of the press, under the underlisted are some of the matters arising over the week from political actors who have placed themselves in corners to continue to take Nigeria backward for their selfish reasons and interests. It should interest you to know that last week, one Professor Wole Soyinka issued some disgruntled statements in support of the rejected INEC results announced in favor of the APC candidate who was his personal friend over the years. We in the VMCII see these statements as a supportive voice made in sentiments to build up general public endorsement for the illegitimate announcement of INEC fake results in favor of the ruling party. If anyone tells us a person like Wole Soyinka will stoop this low after all the values he created for himself over the years, we would refuse to agree. This is very shameful and we reject it in totality. With such an attitude, we call on the Nigerian children and students, both home and abroad, to boycott the purchase and usage of any academic materials written or crafted by Mr. Wole Soyinka in solidarity to the restoration of the mandate given by Nigerians to their preferred political party and candidate on the presidential election day. Again, we see that Mr. Wole Soyinka's professorship certificate award must be questioned for the character displayed so far on the issues of forcing Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu as president of Nigeria against the wishes of the Nigerian people. We hereby call on the permanent secretary of the organization in charge of the Nobel Prize called the Swedish Academy, who awarded Mr. Wole Soyinka with the title of the Nobel Prize in Literature, to officially withdraw the Nobel Prize status on the person of Mr. Wole Soyinka immediately. This withdrawal will help to disassociate themselves from the disgruntled supporter of an electoral fraud, the instability of the democracy of Nigeria, and the growth of our electoral processes. The withdrawal of this Nobel Prize will go a long way to also create a much more better valued respect for the Swedish Academy and its activities over the years. A personality like Mr. Wole Soyinka relating to the support he has given to an illegitimate president-elect declared by the worst government election agency in the world is a sign that the democracy of Nigeria is under attack and must be defended by the international community, where democracy is battered with the clean water of trust, hope, and service to humanity. Mr. Wole Soyinka must apologize to Nigerians as the only way to take himself out of the disgruntled character displayed after enjoying the patronage of Nigerians over the years in the sales of his books and academic materials. On behalf of all those who voted on the 25th of February 2023 for their presidential candidate, for the presidential candidate of their choice. We ask everybody from the north, south, east, and west of Nigeria to come out on the streets to register their grievances on the rejection of the presidential election result announced by INEC against the wish of the Nigerian people. Just to remind Nigerians and the international community that in 2011 and 2015, President Buhari and the APC promised to form a parallel government on May 29 if the mandate of Nigerians were not transmitted to them as winners of the said elections and the walls of Nigeria did not fall as a nation. Buhari went ahead to say the blood of the baboons will do whatever, and the DSS did not ask him why. We therefore call on the Nigerian people and the international community to note that we as citizens of Nigeria who voted on the presidential election day shall also form a parallel government come May 29, 2023 if the mandate of the people is not reviewed by INEC and President Buhari as the Electoral Act provides in regards to the usage of the voting results as presented by the beavers machines on election day. Meaning that we, the Nigerian people, shall not recognize the APC drug leader Ahmed Bola Tinubu as our president, and this is because the election that presented him as president-elect was filled with election irregularities and discrepancies that the world have seen as the highest in any election on earth. Even as the Court of Appeal gets ready to hear the cases presented by the Labour Party, the NNPP, and the PDP against INEC, and the APC President Buhari, I beg your pardon, let me take it again. Even as the Court of Appeal gets ready to hear the cases presented to it by the Labour Party, NNPP, and the PDP against INEC and the APC, President Muhammadu Buhari and INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu still have 49 days to clear their names as enemies of our democracy. This government must do the needful by obeying the laws of the Electoral Act in all its ramifications. Fellow Nigerians, we like to let you know that if you continue to sit at home in your comfort zones, the liberty that comes with a true democracy and the integrity of good governance will never be given the opportunity to influence any positive change in our politics and economy. Your presence at every protest will go a long way to buttress the image of a genuine fight for the democracy that will rebirth a nation of our dreams. It is very positive to note that this present government, chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC leadership, is reckless in indebting Nigeria by the continued borrowing of funds from foreign organizations at last minute of handing over power to a new administration. It is therefore a criminal act to borrow monies at the last hour of handover to another government. It is not acceptable, it is fraudulent in action, and we totally reject any more borrowing from this outgoing Buhari administration. Meanwhile, the ones you borrowed in the past have been stolen into personal pockets, and nothing have been done to investigate the biggest looting witnessed in this regime so far. For us, in the Vote Must Count International Initiative, the Buhari administration is the most electoral violated administration, coupled with disrespect for the rule of law in the history of Nigeria. This government is corrupt, and is labeled as a chronic supporter of the abuse of office by its appointees over the years. Gentlemen of the press, it is very clear that the Buhari APC-led government has just 50 days to leave office, and it has surely left us much more divided as a country than any administration in history. We call on the next administration to be declared by the judiciary after the 2023 presidential litigation to swing into action by creating a national reconciliation agency that will help heal the wounds mattered on Nigerians by Buhari, APC, and INEC put together as a political gang of electoral crooks. It is very clear that since 2015, Nigeria entered the hands of some unfortunate political confusionists that have shown no clue on how to navigate a positive direction for the democracy of the nation, thereby putting the country under pressure at every point in time. On this note, it should also be noticed that our politics have suffered a serious spill in the areas of governance, thereby not demonstrating the values for the responsive growth needed for a reasonable correction of the agenda for the configuration of the politics of our policies and the policies of our politics, which is expected to create a solid framework for the credible expansion of our politics and economy. It's not a crime to ask the president for a wish. It's not a crime to request for a solution for Nigeria at this time in our history. It is a constitutional right for citizens to ask for a new plan of action to ward away the political pandemonium we have found ourselves in today as a nation. There is a disagreement between the INEC umpire, the election umpire called INEC, the voters, the political parties, and the candidates. And the people are saying they have no trust on the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari anymore, because we know Buhari will have an influence in the litigation judgment, which he has done over the years. This is so because over the years, we have witnessed the Buhari administration reject courts